What's up, Internet? We are back with more N64 multi-cart, not quite multi-cart because it's a flash cart. It's confusing nonsense. Last time we did a bunch of stuff, including, I skipped it, Rat Attack, Rayman, and Ready to Rumble. Also Resident Evil 2, which is really impressive, but I'm not sure is all that great on the N64, but it is impressive. This time we're doing Roadsters. I don't know what this is, which makes me almost inclined to think it's not going to be a game that runs in a North American N64. But I don't believe this is like a PAL release. Oh god, it's by Titus. Okay, so that's not a great sign. But here we are, Roadsters Trophy. Okie doke. Not sure what that actually is. I don't even have any audio on my thing, but hold on just one sec. There we go. I think that fixes some things. But yeah, the audio is really low, so I'm going to just tweak it ever so slightly so there's at least something there. I don't know how much it's going to help, but let's try Roadster Trophy. Select drive. I don't want to be you. No. Mr. Slim, Linda, Billy. I don't want to play as any of these characters. They all look just terrible. Oh god. Okay, so the voice acting in this game is tuned really high, but the music is tuned really low. That's a decision someone decided to make, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I have to buy a car first. I don't own any cars, okay. So I need to buy a car. What car do I want to buy? So I think we can only buy category C's right now, because I think that's kind of what we're doing. So let's see. It's a Lotus. That's a really old-looking Lotus. I don't know much about cars, for what it's worth. Look, if I don't see the Toyota Torino, I'm out of my depth here. Alright, there's the MR Spider. It's at least a Toyota car. Gotta pick something. That looks vaguely like the car from Outrun. Kinda. Not quite, though. Because that was quite famously a, Ferrari Testarossa. Now we're in B-class cars. So there's a lot of cars here, but we're looking for a C-class car, so let's go back to where we have to go and pick something that we can actually drive. What looks like something I want to drive? A Fiat. No, thank you. We'll take the Renault if we can buy it, because my grandpa had a Renault car and I kind of liked that car. It wasn't this car. This looks much nicer than the car my grandpa had, but we'll take this because it's at least something I can kind of at least say I vaguely have some sort of connection to. Okay, so yeah, the voice acting and the sound effects seem to be tuned way higher than the music, which is a very odd choice. Like, I would say, and this is personal preference, I suppose, but if we're going with most important to least important in terms of audio, music is top priority, then voice acting. Like, when we get to more modern games, voice acting may top music, just because there's, usually more of it, that it becomes more important, but I think hearing the engine roar is significantly less important than having music to drive to. Okay, so trying to brake to do, a power slide, that's a bit slippery. Don't do that again. I think this is more of a just gas slightly less around corners type of thing. I will say I've played significantly worse games by Titus. If that's some form of compliment I can give this game. Yeah, so it's really more just when you have to go for a tight turn, just sort of button mash the gas to get around it, kinda. Okay. Whoa. I wouldn't say this is a great game by any means. I think I've gone on record several times as saying, like, the N64 is a console with a lot of, like, subpar racing games. I think this would probably be on that list. But it's a lot more playable than some of those subpar racing games, for what it's worth. I don't know why that one light flashes, but it's really distracting and annoying. Oh! Okay, how do I reverse? How do I reverse? Okay, well, it's not B. B is just brake. C is just camera controls. Shoulder buttons just don't seem to do anything. Oh, God. Okay. So, if you want to know what reverse is in this game, it's down on the D-pad, and then gas. Bearing in mind, this is a game that controls using the stick. Now, I'm using a brawler controller that's designed to look more like a GameCube controller, so actually getting to the D-pad isn't that big a deal, but if you were to put this on an actual N64 controller, like a proper original first-party one, you'd then have to, like, remove your hand from the controller just to activate the backwards, just to, you know, reverse. That's not good. Okay, so the trick is don't get into a situation where you need to reverse in this racing game. Got it. That said, you know, I've played so many racing games on the N64. I mean, I've played basically every N64 game at this point, but I have played a lot of subpar racing games that I would prefer to play to this, but this is a lot more playable than some of them out there, so there's that. And there's a pretty wide variety of cars. You know, this game does seem to have some merit, which, as I've said, makes it slightly better than any other Titus game out there, which are usually just god-awful. I just have no idea how they survived as a company for as long as they did. Because I genuinely don't think they ever really made anything that was truly great. Well, I think they were more of a publisher than anything, but again, you know, if your products aren't good, I don't know how you stick around as a publisher for that long. I don't know. So there's not really much to say about this game. It's just another kind of sort of playable but not fantastic racing game. I'd rather play Revolt. Revolt was fun. Why is that one light flashing? It's actually really bloody distracting. Iggy's Wrecking Balls, you know, that game was not a great game, but it was interesting. Aero Gauge, that was a pretty solid. That's a racing game I actually do want to get, but it's a tad pricier than I'd like to spend on that. That one cruising game, Cruising World? Cruising Exotica, that's the one, the weird one. That one I'd like to play. That one is ungodly expensive, though. That game is, I think, about $100. Which, you know, is way more than I would ever spend on a cruising game. Although there is, like, a new one on the Switch that came out, like, last year. I'm kind of curious about that. Just because I feel like that's a game that probably exists just on nostalgia for the brand. Because I don't think it's, like, trying to be like the old school games, but at the same time, you know, if you're not selling it for nostalgia for the brand, what's the point in reviving it? I don't know, though. I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like, I feel like reboot titles should be illegal. Like you can reboot a game, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't just use, like, the base name of the series as your reboot game. Like, on a fundamental level for how, like, copyright and trademark laws work. Because ostensibly, those exist to try and, you know, prevent confusion from brands. Like, so there's not a million different games called Mario, so you don't know which one's, like, actual Mario versus a million other games that could be called Mario, you know? But when you have multiple games with the exact same name, even if they're in the exact same series and, you know, held by the same people, while that is very true to, like, the letter of the law, it's not really true to the spirit of the law, because ultimately it could easily confuse you with the, you know, classic game, trying to explain that to people. And while those laws are ultimately made for the selling of the product more than the actual not confusing the people behind it, you know, at the same time, I feel like that's absolutely going against the spirit of what that is. So I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, you know, I was watching a little bit of Star Wars. I was thinking, you know, this new Star Wars actually has some cool stuff in it. I'm betting it's already probably been modded into Battlefront 2, you know, the old 2003 version. But it's like, you know, if I went out of my way and made like a Star Wars Battlefront 2, like before EA did, I would be in trouble with that because, first of all, I don't have a license, but second of all, the core concept would be because it's trying to, like, confuse from the branding. But at the same time, you know, it's doing that from the older version of the game, which, if nothing else, makes the archival of it absolutely a pain in the ass. So why do that in the first place? It's not like using a base version of a series name for a reboot actually benefits it in any meaningful way. It really just exists to make it more confusing on the back end than anything. Which is literally, at least spiritually, what those laws exist to do. Is to prevent, you know, consumers from being confused about stuff. Well, it's more about getting money from consumers who won't be confused about that stuff. But still, you know, it's optimistically there for the consumer. So yes, basically rebooting titles, you can do it, but you gotta come up with a new title. You can't just use the base title. That should be illegal, is what I'm saying. But, I've been thinking about that a lot today. Because I've been stuck in a house that had all its vents, blown out, and it took, like, all day, and it was loud, and I couldn't really do anything. So I was just sitting here thinking about games, and how weird some of this stuff is, at times. I've never really understood why someone thought that was a good idea. Let's reboot a series and just use the most basic thing to make it confusing. There's no benefit to it. I mean, that pretty much says everything about why this game is, or the quality of this game is just, I'm trying to find anything else to talk about from my day, because this is not a terribly spectacular racing game. Still, I've played worse on this series. I'm surprised how far ahead the people at first actually are. Like, this doesn't seem like it has proper rubber banding or something, or those people out in front have, like, just broken that or something. Because if this does have proper rubber banding, that should mean that those people out in front shouldn't be able to get significantly far ahead of us. But at the same time, everyone else behind those past two that are right behind me are literally just clumped up on my tail right now. So it's like it rubber bands on the back end if you pass something, but if they get ahead, it doesn't activate any form of rubber banding, which is, I mean, I guess a way you could do it, but I'm not sure it would be a way that would make this game particularly enjoyable. I don't know, though. It could be that there's actually no rubber banding whatsoever, and those two up ahead just somehow found the perfect racing line or something. Although that seems wildly unlikely. I will say that 5 laps, I'm guessing this is probably something you can change in the options, change it to like 3 or something, but 5 laps seems a little bit exorbitant to start out with. Hey, Vermilion. Not much. I'm complaining about why reboot titles don't make sense and should be illegal. Because racing games by Titus are that interesting. Fortunately, by the end of tonight, we're going to get to play Rocket Robot on Wheels, so that's going to be a plus for me. That's a fun game. That's a game I'm thinking about doing a full Let's Play of, because that game is just fantastic. And it's not a game by Titus. Oh, I still got one more freaking lap. Like, I'm sure this is a modifiable thing, but making 5 laps the default seems just... Titus had a lot of confidence in people wanting to play these games, I guess. Oh god, the reboot game on PS1. I saw that in the store once and I really wanted it, but it was before I had a PlayStation. And that's just because I am the biggest fan of Reboot. Because well, first of all, I've got the entire DVD set of that series, but that was like the show I watched when I was a kid. I friggin' love Reboot. Never saw the like new shit that was like Netflix exclusive, and I don't really aspire to because there's no way it's good. But I can go back and watch my DVDs of Reboot and it'll be great. I've heard it's got nothing to actually do with Reboot. I've also heard it calls out Reboot fans. So it's like, why would I want to watch this? Where's the reboot to Shadow Raiders? That's what I care about. Or War Planets, or whatever they called it everywhere else. I will say, War Planets was more accurate to what the series was about. Shadow Raiders was an infinitely better title. Oh, the PS1 game. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty bad. I'm a big fan of Reboot, though. I really want to try it. I freaking love Reboot. Okay, so that was Roadsters. Okay, so I'm not sure how far we're going to get in this one, but this is Robotron 64. I have a boxed copy of this, and I've played it for a while. It's actually a pretty solid RPG. If you're not familiar with Robopon, it was kind of like a knockoff of Metabots. It's a robot-based RPG with 2 different versions on everything. But this is, of course, an N64 console game, so they can't have 2 versions of the game. Well, they could, but they didn't. But they did try to emulate that experience in this game by giving you 2 separate save files that each operate like, effectively, a different version. So save file 1 will have a character that has this robot that looks like a rabbit, which is like the Pikachu of this series, basically. And then save file 2 will have like a guy who has this monkey-looking guy. And I think just on a fundamental level, the fact that they tried to replicate like the 2 versions thing on an N64 disc, that's pretty cool. Because Lord knows Metabots didn't do that. Metabots just made 1 version of it on the PlayStation. And I believe it did get a translation, for what that's worth. So now we can pick our character. Do we want save file A with Rabbit Robopon, or save file B that gets Monkey Robopon? This guy's got far more fantastic hair, but I do like the Monkey Robopon, so we'll go with this. But this is a series I've always wanted to get into. I've always had a fascination with Robopon. I think I've only ever seen 1 copy of it ever, though. And I'm not sure why we're staring at a black screen right now, because I'm pretty sure something's supposed to be happening. So this is interesting. This might be broken. That'd be unfortunate. I don't want a broken ROM of Robopon. Yeah, something's supposed to be going on. So what we'll do, I'll reset, we'll try it again, and if that doesn't work, I guess we'll move on and play a different game. That's a shame, though. I'd like to play Robopon, because that game's actually pretty cool. So let's try again. Worst case, we move on to Robotron, which... Solid game. Shouts to Eugene Jarvis for, you know, basically making a better version of Berserk. But I want to play some Robopon. Assuming I can even remember how to play this game. Okay. Okay, we got save files. Nope. I'm guessing it's just freezing there. Alright, fine. Fine. Initialize the OS. Let's go play some Robotron. That's unfortunate. Alright. Robotron 64. I've heard this game is pretty good. I've only ever played the original Robotron, though. Warning, not enough pages. I don't care to use a controller pack. Thank you. It's by Crave. That's a face. Okay, so what's the controls? I'm guessing it's probably C buttons. Okay, so C buttons are the shoot directions. This game is absolutely crying out for a second stick. That thing explodes. Okay, good to know. Alright. But that's Robotron for you right there. It's a very basic arcadey experience. They just sort of... This was one of those games that definitely... Okay, so anything glowing, just avoid it, even though my face is glowing. Got it. Okay. Robotron was definitely one of those games that exists sort of in that time where, you know, every arcade game had to get, like, a remake. And this is just another one of those things. That shouldn't say it's a bad thing. You know, there were some really good ones of those. I think Space Invaders got a pretty solid one. Asteroids had a pretty crap one, though. Breakout had one that I played forever ago. That was not fantastic. Pong had one that was pretty interesting, though. I'm not sure why in, like, the cultural zeitgeist they decided when you got to, like, a CD-based system, now we just need to completely redesign all our classic arcade games. Like, sure, compiling and, like, remaking classic arcade games has existed since, you know, consoles have existed, but, you know, they just decided we're going to take it in a completely different direction now because 3D's a thing. And, I mean, you had some pretty mixed results out of it. But, you know, it's an interesting little period of time. I think these are the brain bots that, yeah, they do that. This is basically exactly what this is. It's just a bunch of this. Shouldn't say it's bad, it's just, I think we've kind of played most of, everything you need to know about Robotron right now. Oh no, one of the last, humans in the family died. Because that was the whole plot of Robotron. Basically, you're a scientist who's saving the last human family, who seems to be significantly larger because it goes on forever, but maybe they've just been cloned a whole bunch of times. Hey, that guy actually got, like, physically eaten. That's cool. It wasn't just, hey, we walked over you, you died. We had an animation for this. That's not too bad. Surrounded, I don't like the sounds of that. Time to shoot in all the directions, then we'll be less surrounded. Smart? Okay. We've got a third-person camera. I don't think this game was really made to have its camera that close, though. Because you really see how just, not fantastic the animations and everything are. Whoa, not that. Okay, yeah, arena, that's not bad. Is there a way to have, like, a fixed, like, arena wouldn't be too bad, but I don't like the sort of Dutch angles it's going for. Like, if there was, like, a fixed sort of isometric camera, I think that would probably benefit this the best. But that doesn't seem to be an option. So this isn't a bad game. It's, definitely not a game I really go out of my way to own a copy of, but, you know, it's fine. It's okay. Whoa, let's take out those spinners if we can. There we go. Oh no, I got shot. Not fair. Ooh, power up? I guess we'll never know. But it could have been a power up. You will die. This was the predecessor to Dark Souls. Well, it's true. I did in fact die. Can't claim false advertising on that. Wait, Mr. Blue-suited man. There we go. More points. I will say the giant, like, neon flying numbers for points, those are really just more of a distraction and, like, an impediment to your vision than anything. I don't like that design choice too much. And a lot of this just looks very visually nonsensical. Like, it's hard to tell what's... If you assume everything is hostile to you, that's probably the best way to play this game, because it's hard to say exactly what looks like it's going to immediately murder you or not. Spheroid aggression. Oh, that's a lot of glowy things I care not to be staring at right now. Oh. Actually, it really hurts my head to look at. Okay. Let's go rescue the family. Got it. Take you out. There we go. Still, you know, it's not a bad game. It's not a game I'd say you'd need in your life desperately, but it's not bad. I've heard the PlayStation 1, I don't want to say version because as I understand it's completely different, but like the PS1 sort of equivalent game isn't quite as good as the N64 one, for whatever that's worth. Save Mikey! I'm guessing that's who the red-shirted person is. But he's a red shirt. You don't save them. You watch them die and you laugh at them. That's the whole point of red shirts. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hey! This shouldn't be allowed on a Nintendo console if it's using the word hell. That's against the Nintendo seal of whatever value that actually held. Which, at least in the case of Monster Party, was not much. And that's why Monster Party is amazing. Alright, there we go. Tank trouble! This isn't a bad little game, though. Like I said, I wouldn't say you need this in your life, but it's not a bad sort of reimagining. Like, you know, again, this kind of existed in that time where all those classic arcade games were getting remade in some bizarre 3D way or another. This one's actually quite playable. This is not, Sinistar. We don't have to run. I haven't played Sinistar in forever. I should do that again. That game is good. Terrifying as hell, but good. Which was also Midway, I believe. Eugene A Mean Machine, presumably named after Eugene Jarvis. I don't like those spinners. Go away, go away, go away, go away. There we go. Actually, I have a lot of lives. I'm genuinely meet the bees, not the bees. Ah! Ah! That's a lot of bees. Okay. I'm reminded a lot of, like, Galaga from this stage. This is very Galaga-ish. Alright. There's no way I can hit them all. Not with one controller, anyway. Ow. It's a bonus level. I shouldn't be able to lose lives. Or at least it shouldn't count. I would hope it doesn't count. Got 67. You mean these waves before weren't aggressive? Okay, I'm curious what that red thing is. Let's grab that. Oh, it's invulnerability. Cool. Although I can't take out the green guys. Although I did also just get murdered by super-powered family members who are possibly also robots. Never really understood that. I don't... Oh, I got two-sided shot. That's... See, I think they would have probably benefited by showing off the power-ups first. But I'm dead. Not a bad game. Not a bad game. Maybe not a great game, but not a bad one. Whoopsie. I don't want to play GoldenEye. Never again. I've already done that once too many times, which is once. So let's go and move on to the next game, which is, of course, going to be a game that's very near and dear to my heart. Rocket Robot on Wheels. I actually had to record on this cartridge a little while ago, this game. Get some footage for Jet Wolf because he needed it for something. This game is quite interesting for a lot of reasons. And we'll probably sit here and play this game for a while because this game's great. But this is possibly the best N64 game. Possibly. I can think of one or two I might put above this. Bomberman's Second Attack. Maybe Space Station Silicon Valley. But this one's definitely up there. It's definitely the best 3D platformer. Also, the soundtrack to this is like lounge jazz, and it's amazing. Also, you might notice a cameo by Sly Cooper in the background, because this was a predecessor, sort of. It was made by Sucker Punch before Sly Cooper, and they took the design of that character from this game and made him the hero, even though in this game he's the villain. God, the soundtrack to this game's amazing. Kibbs. By the lighting, you can tell he's not exactly on board with this whole walrus world nonsense. He's got a knife in this. He definitely does not like that walrus. Just before we could tell Professor Gavin, alas. And suddenly all the tickets are gone. Bop! And thus began the adventures of Sly Cooper. Yes, thank you, alarm screen, to tell you there's an alarm in case you couldn't hear the alarm or all the lights. Point out, Rocket isn't exactly like a security robot or anything, he's a janitor. And we won't see Jojo again until the final boss fight. So I hope you enjoyed that scene of his butt. But we found a ticket. These are the Mario stars of this game. We can use that to open this big creepy mouth, which is the entrance to the park. So let's collect all these little tokens. These are the Mario coins. You need a whole bunch of them. I think there's 200 in every level. There are 3 tokens. Silver, gold, and purple. 200 in each world. Get them all, you get a ticket. Also, full camera control. And that's why this game is infinitely better than good old Gex. Unfortunately, we can't get through this. We gotta go find Tinker, the mechanic robot. Oh, well, there's a key, but we can't do anything with it yet. But we can do this to help show how cool this game's built-in physics engine is. Because this game had like an absolutely mind-blowing physics system on the N64. It's kind of amazing. I like that he opens up the first world for you, but can't do any of the others. So now we gotta get eaten by a big creepy clown. That won't be the last time we see one of these. So, I mentioned this in my review forever ago, but like, if Mario 64 was based on like very simple concepts like, you know, snow, fire, grass worlds, and Banjo-Kazooie had like more complex ideas like, you know, tree world or like, you know, a desert pyramid level, this one combines multiple ideas into one to create really complicated ideas. So, this is a theme park mixed with, you know, a deserted island sort of thing. It's one of the more easy to follow ones. The second one is basically ancient Rome meets a paintball match. So the levels get really complicated. Like, this game doesn't have as many levels as, say, Banjo or Mario. I think there's like maybe 7 levels, but each level has like a whole bunch of these things. Also, here's the creepy clowns. These are in most levels. They have a little tractor beam like we do, and they can steal stuff from us. And had that text box not interrupted, we could have stolen that back. These guys are a little annoying. So we got a screw. We need to return this to a thing where they go, which is right here, because I already know where that is. Unfortunately, we only have one so far. Oh, hey, Tinker's here. So yes, we need more screws. So there's a big angry beehive house called Beware. Ha ha ha. Okay, right here is the machine of the world. You collect a whole bunch of parts to build a machine, and you'll do something that fundamentally changes the level. This game did a lot of really complicated stuff. Now, if we want everything in this world, here's a piece of the machine right here. And there's our machine schematic to the left, so we know how many pieces of the machine we have. Now, if we want everything in this stage, we actually have to leave and get the first power-up, but we're not going to be there for that long, I don't think. But Tinker will come up with new abilities for us, which is good. Now, these screws are kind of scaredy cats. If you get close to them, they hide in the ground and you can't grapple them up, so that's kind of annoying. Oh, also, if I recall correctly, there's a piece of machine right here. This is one of the most awkward parts of this game, is this particular attraction, the roller coaster. Because there's a ticket for running through specific places, and it always takes me an embarrassingly long period of time to figure out how to go about doing that. But there's a lot in this game to like. It's far more complicated than its contemporaries. But it does a lot of cool stuff. Again, we're going to mess with the physics a little bit. Fling this box right around there. And that'll let us jump up here. That's how we get up here. And again, full camera control. The camera does get stuck on some stuff, but it's a full camera. This game also had like 1,000,001 cheat codes that did a bunch of really weird stuff. Like, you could set your character's jump height to like 100 times what it was, or like be able to grapple stuff on the other side of the world. This game had some really fun cheat codes to it. I remember messing with them a whole lot. Okay, so this is basically a way to test that you know how to aim the grappling hook physics system. So let's play some carnival games and feed some Mount Rushmore heads. Some apples, presumably. And there you go, Abe. That's one done. This is the second one where we have to just test some target practice here. So throw tomatoes at cats. as a cat owner, I don't necessarily approve of this, but they're not real cats, so that's the pass they get, I guess. Now, because of the actual physics system, you can hit them, and depending on where you hit them, like if you hit them super low, they might not bend over like that. So you actually do have to activate the sort of like lever of their, like, you know, physical axis or whatever in order to push them over, because they really wanted to show off this physics system. And, you know, it's impressive. They clearly made something special with this. There we go. This is the one that I always remember. You have to play tic-tac-toe with a chicken. Now, it does say, please do not harass the chicken. Spoilers, it's actually really hard to beat this unless you do that. Also, if you ever want to win tic-tac-toe, you need the middle square. You do. And then, boop. If you harass the chicken, he kind of makes just suboptimals. So, like, if I were to put one here, or rather, if I were to put one right here, and I didn't harass the chicken, he would then put one there. Like, he's got a very good defensive game for this. But if you do this, suddenly he actually plays very smart, or very, very dumb. So yeah, he wants it there. So I win. And to prove that, I'll do it again. Because I'm pretty sure you can just redo these things for fun. Yeah, so let's do it. Please don't harass the chicken. Fine, this time we'll actually play by the rules. Where do you want to go, Mr. Chicken? He does taunt you all the time, which is funny. Okay, I'll plop one there. That cuts you off. That gives me a chance to win. What are you going to do, Mr. Chicken? Alas, you've thwarted my opportunity to actually beat you. Fine, I'll throw one there. Cut you off. What are you going to do then? Ah, you just cut me off again. Well. Welly, 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 well. I can put one there. Like, I think you can beat him without cheating, but he's got a very, very strong defensive game. You can demand whatever you want, but I won, Mr. Chicken. Because I know the strats. Alright. Okay. We currently do not have any sort of offensive abilities to our name. That will change as time goes on. You know, if we keep playing this anyway, but, you know. Ostensibly, we should only be doing this for 10 minutes, but I don't want to stop there. Because I want to just play more of this. Okay, that's annoying. I do want that. Also, there's a part down there. And you see these little trash cans. Those all have... That's the one I want. Okay. There we go. The trash cans, as well as these boxes, can all be destroyed, but because we don't have any sort of offensive abilities currently, all we can do is, like, pick them up and throw them around. So unfortunately, we won't be able to get the tokens from them. That's really what prevents you from 100%ing this area the first time you enter it. There we go. I think we might have enough points, though. So let's see if we can find one of the secrets in this area. It's under the pier somewhere. That's where we spawned in. There's some Superman 64 rings. And I guess we could show these off. Basically, go through them, and you'll get something for it. Oh no, we just wasted some time. There's no way we'll actually be able to finish this now. Alas. Oh, there's the screw. Ow. Okay, now it might seem like I'm just wasting a whole bunch of time, and the honest fact of that is I absolutely am, but there's actually no way to beat that. We are currently not properly equipped to do that. I'd like that, but I also want to hold on to the screw. So let's get back to the start. Drop the screw where it needs to go. Maybe grab those tokens, because we do need tokens for something. That looks like a dust buster. So there's access to Beware. Gonna have to go down there. And there's, of course, the Super N64 rings. And let's avoid these clowns, because they're annoying. And there we go. We've delivered all the screws to where they need to go. And now we get a game of Roller Coaster Tycoon. Or we get to... Okay, so B and move is down. Okay. Whoopsie. There we go. I dubbed you the Vomitron. And now we get to ride it. This game has a huge bag of tricks. Every stage has like a different vehicle that has different stuff you can do in it. That's thematically accurate to what you have to do in the world itself. So it's a very complicated game, but it's a very, very well thought out and creative game. And it's kind of a shame that this game doesn't get the credit it deserves, because I don't think anyone really knows about this game other than me. Which sucks, because it's probably one of the best N64 games of all time, if not the best. There's a big T-Rex. Meow. And we got the tokens. Alright. Now we hop out. Grab that. Alright. And now there's a new thing. You can see these little bits here. We have to go through them in order. I am terrified to even try this because I know that while I've done it several times, it always takes me like an inordinate sum of time to actually like figure this crap out. Because it's at this point it's a puzzle to figure out like how to get through this. So I'm actually just going to leave that because I don't want to waste time doing that. Because last time I did that, it probably took me like an hour to figure out the solution to that. But there is this. And then there's this curious little pad here that we can't actually interact with. But oh wait! It's the Dune Dog. So yeah, every world in this game has like its own vehicles. This one has two. You get a completely design your own roller coaster, as well as a race car hot dog. And this will let us go a lot faster. And the backing up is far more competent than that weird racing game we played by Titus. I would like to get that ticket, but getting the laser onion rings is far more important to me right now. Whoa. Come on. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. There's F. Now, unfortunately, this vehicle is not actually all that useful. You can use it to do that, and you can use it for one other ticket, and then it's just a thing you can drive around because you can drive it around, really. But I appreciate that the exhaust ports are both ketchup and mustard themed, and that there's clearly flames on the sides of the bun. So there's a corn car. And we have to beat this car in a race. And we can't possibly do it without this car. Unfortunately, they just sort of start you like that. Whoa, okay. Not fair, corn car. Not fair. Aha. I think that line of dialogue's there to, like, in case you, like, try and cheat or something, but I don't think the game exactly expected me to physics my way out of there. So let's try and find that strange-looking pad with the picture of the Dune Dog on it, because now we can summon it. You can't utilize that until you actually, like, have the vehicle, though, so yeah, we couldn't have done anything about that just yet. Grab that. We can grab this, which gives us extra health. And now we've got a bit of a precision platformy bit that also, once again, likes to flex that, yes, this game does, in fact, have a physics engine. And I could be messing with the camera right now, but I didn't do that. Unfortunately, the camera does like to do its own thing sometimes. There's like, it's not full manual, it does have some like auto stuff, and sometimes it just acts a little weird. There's B. Let's see about defeating this corn car. Woo! This isn't exactly my favorite vehicle in the game. I have to say the next stage's vehicle is probably my favorite. And if it's not, it's the one from like the penultimate level. The penultimate level's vehicle is just so strong. Unfortunately, you can only use it for about half the stage, but I think there's another Dune Dog summon thing, but I just know there's one around here, so we'll grab this one. There it is. Meow. More games need to have cars that are shaped like hot dogs. I think the fact that there's really only this game is a missed opportunity for other games to try and one-up this game, because let's be honest, no game one-ups Rocket Robot on Wheels. Yes, let's try. Let's try again. Let's try not to completely flip our vehicle this time. I want to see if I flipped him. I don't think I've ever tried to. You probably can. But you know, it would be interesting to try to do that. I don't think there's really any other instances in this game of another AI trying to follow you, or trying to follow another AI. I think they did that this time, and that was it. But that was what this game did, is it pretty much every ticket felt like a completely different challenge. There we go. Like this. Alright. I think there's still Beware. And I can think of maybe one other ticket we can get. Maybe? But we'll see. We'll do Beware and see what happens. But you know, this is a tutorial level. It's pretty simple compared to the later stages. Some of those stages get like really frustratingly hard. But let's go up here. And go to Beware. Which is basically just a house of really bad bee puns and precision platforming. Whoa. Alright. Also, it's an area that has its own bespoke music. And a machine part we definitely want. Whoa! Got a little overzealous there. Alright, we are missing one part of the machine. I am racking my brain trying to think where the last one is, because I am not immediately certain. And that's a shame, because I'd like to show off what the machine does. Okay, now there's actually 2 gold tokens right there. Actually, another one right there. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Nice lighting right here, by the way. Whoop. And there's the queen bee with her little crown and makeup. So you know she's got style points compared to everyone else. She's the final obstacle, even though she does nothing. So maybe she's just rewarding you or something. But, yeah, we did that. We're still missing 1 machine part, though. Where is that? Because I would like to very much use the machine. Yes, I know I need 7 game, but I don't know where the 7th one is. Offhand, it's been way too long since I played this last. I want to say it's... I was going to say, I want to say it's like around here, but... I think we've already checked around here. It's not there. We already picked that one up. Check inside here, maybe. Because collectibles aren't in different worlds. Because that would be pain. I think that would be a terrible design choice. Oh, we're going to put like stage 1's items in like stage 5B or something like that. Like Hexen did that, and that was terrible. That's part of what makes Hexen such a mess of a game, really. I don't think there's anything around here other than these things that I'm not allowed to just jump through. So, the question is, where is... Also, googly eyes. Just googly eyes. Don't worry about it. I'm not sure if that's the thing JoJo did to make fun of Whoopi or what, but that's the thing that happened. Alright, we've kind of explored this entire area. We could get the Dune Dog and try and go around the beach looking for that last machine part. We already did that race. Kind of surprising that those rings don't disappear permanently. I kind of thought they did. It's weird they didn't. I feel like it's not hidden at all. I mean, it's the first stage, so stuff like this isn't normally hidden. So let's just take it careful. Not seeing anything right off. Doesn't appear to be around here. Well, if we have to just do this without one last part, alas, that's how we'll do it, I guess. Oh, there it is. Because they really wanted you to ramp off some stuff. Because they gave you a fast car. Of course you gotta ramp off stuff. These developers, they had their priorities straight. So we got all the machine parts. Let's go turn on the machine. And go see what that does. I've actually used this game's soundtrack with some of my videos just because it is such a good soundtrack. With lots of lounge jazz. Alright. We started the machine. And now the dinosaur starts stomping around, and in fact, there's a secret hatch that gives you basically access to a whole new level. Plus we got a ticket for fixing the machine. Alright. I'm not really sure what this projector thing actually does. You never see one of these ever again. But welcome to Precision Platforming area. There are many of these in the game. Well, Unfortunately, it is punishing as hell to fall in one of these. There are a bunch of areas kind of like this in the game. So, you know, if you're not a fan of potentially getting punished for stuff, yeah, there's bits of this game that might frustrate you. There we go, taking advantage of, once again, the almighty Phys X. There's Robo-Sharks, by the way. I think at one point they were dolphins because they look vaguely bottle-nosed, but they are in fact sharks. Got some health. They aren't usually lying around. Sometimes you can get them from items, but you usually get them from destroying enemies, which we currently cannot do. Although we have the tools to unlock the ability to do that, we'd have to leave the area to do that, and I just don't want to do that right now. Whee! Oh no, it's a dead end. Whatever shall we do? We'll wait up here. And do some grappling nonsense. Okay, this is a bit of an issue. The game does sort of have like an auto-tracking system for stuff like this. And it does get a little muddled when there's multiple targets next to each other. You kind of just have to aim yourself in the vague direction and kind of hope a little bit, which isn't great, but again, this game was kind of pioneering a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm willing to forgive it for being a little bit muddled with some stuff. Alright. This game also had like a lot of areas that just, for some reason, had their own bespoke music, even though like it was a small area you'd go to and leave very quickly. I think those are batteries. You don't see them anytime other than this in this game. Ow. Alright, and we finished the dinosaur. Now we can step in the dinosaur's mouth, because of course we can. Because we have to make this super spooky. Our robot janitor's getting eaten. Now we can pop out its eyes, and it's actually kind of gross. But we get number J. Oh, that's another thing. I don't know what H is. Let's find out, because there's a hint. Oh yeah. Coast through the 5 targets. And then tokens are always useful. Well, unfortunately, we don't have access to all the tokens, because we need an attack to break those boxes and stuff. But, you know. Alright, so let's just mosey down the back of this dinosaur. Get a whole bunch of tokens for that too. And that's 200. Now the problem is, of course, that we have 200 total, not 200 from this area. We got some from the previous area. So, unfortunately, that's about as far as that will go. But, you know, I love that game. That game is great. I'm kind of thinking about doing a full Let's Play for it. Maybe. It's one of the big ones in contention right now. I like that game a lot. Definitely one of my favorites on the system, hands down. And finally, we have RR64, Ridge Racer 64. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't realize there was a Ridge Racer on the N64. I kind of always just associate that series with the PlayStation. But here we are. Let's see how it is. I'm actually not really familiar with Ridge Racer at all. I kind of know it's a series that helped create that whole problem where we weren't allowed to have anything in our loading screens for the longest time because Namco put a copyright on a very basic gameplay mechanic that really kind of messed up some stuff, which is why you should not be able to copyright and or trademark gameplay mechanics, because that's just a dumb idea. Because if you've not heard that, basically, for the longest time, they had a, again, I'm not a copyright clerk or anything, but it was either a copyright or a trademark, I can't remember which one, but on just having mini games in your loading screens, which having minigames in a loading screen, that's such a brilliant idea. Well, they did it for Ridge Racer and nothing else, but they sat on this trademark that no one else was legally allowed to do. So we were just stuck with a bunch of loading screens forever, and we just had to sit there and watch them because Namco was very, very incredibly selfish and pig-headed about something that they shouldn't legally have been able to do. And, you know, that was the days of, like, PS3, which if you've ever sat there and tried to install Metal Gear Solid 4, that is like a 4-hour loading screen. I'll do you one worse. If you've done the PS3 version of Devil May Cry 4, that is like a 20-hour loading screen. I've done that before. It sucked. And in that time, we could have had... Well, I mean, this copyright started with, like, the PlayStation 1. So by that point, we could have had some amazing stuff from loading screens, and we couldn't do it because, you know, that wasn't given time to evolve because no one was allowed to even do the basic stuff because Namco did that. And, I mean, that copyright trademark thing has now lapsed, but, I mean, we're at a point where loading screens have to be made longer just so we can read the tooltips on them, which, I mean, I'm thankful that they're that short, but they should be gone altogether. But the fact that there's... Well, that's the thing. I think loading screens are inherently a problem because it removes you from the gameplay. It removes you from the experience. Now, the idea of putting something playable in that means that you have an experience within your experience, and while it's not ideal, because, again, you're still being removed from the base experience, that still means that you're getting something out of it. But, of course, that's not how things work. And that's a horrible idea. The fact that they were legally allowed to do that to me is still a baffling concept. Like, to me, I just have no idea how they were legally allowed to get away with that, because they really shouldn't have been able to, and they stifled a very long series of growth that could have existed, and is basically dead because of that. And as someone who loves video games more than really anything, that's truly heartbreaking. Just that was ever allowed to happen. On the concept of this game, it's alright. Going around corners is a bit floaty, but I mean that's the whole we're trying to drift racing sort of. Granted, I'm plowing into walls too, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I like this more than the Titus thing we played earlier. Again, it's no Diddy Kong Racing or Beetle Adventure Racing, but it's not bad. Ugh, excuse me. Ugh. But yeah, I got hiccups now. That's not good. I need vinegar to shock my system so I stop having hiccups. But yeah, this isn't bad. I'm shocked that there's a Ridge Racer on the N64 to begin with, but it seems to play well enough. It's not bad. If it was a decent price, I could see myself playing it. I don't need a replay. I wonder what the first game with a replay function was. Like, I know Umehara Kawase did it on the Super Nintendo. Like, more so than just a replay function, it had like an entire, you could record your entire gameplay function built into itself, which for a Super Famicom cart is quite impressive. Am I just stuck playing this one level over and over? Or do I have to go into first place before I can move on? Like, I know that's quick race, but I would think quick play would mean you could select your map and then move on. Okay, let's try this level. There we go. Oh, I can adjust my color? Well, obviously... I just noticed, but there's no way to have a white car. That bothers me a little. I'd like to have a white car with a red accent. That would be my go-to, but... You know, we'll be a blue car. I like blue cars. We'll be automatic because I can't be asked to figure out manual transmission ever. And I think this is just cruise control, Ridge Racer, Roots, Evolution. These are all just the music in the background that I can't actually hear. Still, you know, this game seems fine. If I found it for a decent price, I'd buy it, I guess. But, you know, I'm not sure I'd say I like it more than the Aero Gauge, but But I think I liked Aero Gauge because it was more creative than anything. I could do a third-person camera, but I feel like this game benefits the first-person camera better. Not really much to say about this other than it's a very competent racing game that I'm honestly surprised is on the Super Nintendo. You can clearly tell I'm still thinking about Umehara Kawase. I gotta play some of that. I recorded some recently for something, but that's a great series. That's a good series of games that unfortunately took way too long to come out in North America. And I have no idea why they never bothered to localize the earlier ones. Like, maybe they just thought the idea of someone using a rubber fishing line to grapple around and defeat fish is too Japanese or something, I don't know. But I know I love the series. And it's on Steam, which is nice. I don't have that version, though. I probably should get it at some point. It's on my wish list, but I would like to actually get, like, the physical Super Famicom card, just because I think that's... Again, for what it is, it's kind of a technical marvel. Which is why I think it would be very important to me, personally, to have it as an archivist. But, that's a fun series. And this is alright. You know, I've always wanted to get more into the Ridge Racer games, because I've heard the ones on the PlayStation 1 are pretty good. I've heard the couple on the PS3 are also very, very good. But I'm pretty sure they're also fairly expensive now. At least the PS3 ones are. And I think part of that was because that whole, like, PSN going down sort of scare that happened, like, a year ago. And make no bones about it, it's still gonna happen. They're just slowing it down a little bit. And they're actively making it harder and harder every step of the way to buy anything on there. Because, like, nowadays you can't buy anything with a credit card on there. You have to buy, like, a gift card, and then input the gift card, and then buy stuff off there, which is really obtuse. And there's still quite a few PS3 games I'd like to get a hold of. I actually just ordered one on eBay that I've been meaning to get for years, but I've never seen a copy. So maybe I'll do a what the hell on that, because I'm curious about it. But that's basically everything that's been going on in my life recently. Just complaining about games, you know, like I like to do. Because I love these damn things. Still, this game controls really quite lovely. It's responsive, the controls are pretty tight. Cornering's a little bit slippy, but it really is one of those sort of drifty games. And I think the series as a whole is very much a drift-focused game. I think this one maybe less so, but this one definitely does have some drifting nonsense, so if you're not cool with that, that might throw you off. But I still think it plays well enough. I kind of like that. That's not bad. If I found that for a decently affordable price, I might buy a copy of that. Anyway, based on these past 5 games, would I recommend it? Well, Roadsters is, it's a subpar racing game on a console that is just, you know, lousy with the bastards. It's probably the most competent Tidus game I've ever played, but that's not really saying anything. It's not very good. Robotron 64, I can attest it's a good game. It does not want to play on this thing, which means I can't recommend it as much as I would like to. Robotron, I was surprised I liked this as much as I did. Like, I like Robotron well enough, but, you know, that's a game I can play for about maybe 10 minutes and then just, you know, put it down for years at a time. This game, I actually, you know, sat down and played 20 levels, had some fun with it. That was quite good. Rocket is easily one of the best games on the system. And Ridge Racer 64, pretty good. Pretty good. I like that game. I'm actually surprised Rocket's as small as 12 megabytes, but and Ridge Racer's as big as it is, but I have to say, based on these past 5, yes, I would recommend it. Robopon outright I can't on this cart because it didn't seem to want to work. But if you like your games in Japanese and you don't mind it being in Japanese because it is an RPG, it is definitely a pretty solid RPG, and it's Interesting that it tries to take that sort of multi-version thing that Pokemon does and makes it work on a single cart. Yeah, Robotron's fun, Rocket's awesome, Ridge Racer definitely competent. If I found that for a decent price, I would absolutely be willing to give that one a shot. Anyway, next time, we'll be playing Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. Oh, God. Okay, spoilers, I'm kind of PTSD about that. I rented it once. It's one of the worst games on the system that I've ever played. It's a board game where everything is random and you have to look at random bits of environment to try and win. It's pain. But that'll be for next time. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know we go live, because we try and stream as often as possible, usually 3 or 4 times a week. This week's been a little bit funny with life, so I haven't been able to do any of the main Let's Play type stuff. We'll probably be back next week with that. I still have to figure out what we're doing for the last game on the series. I went to the Discord, and they had some ideas, and I had some ideas, and I don't think we ever came to a conclusion, so I guess I'm just going to have to pull something out of my ass, but we'll see. You might want to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel, see everything else I do, which is a lot of stuff. I should have a review up for Cubivore in a day or two, just depending on processing time by YouTube, which can sometimes take days, so it might still be a little while, but hopefully it should be up by tomorrow or the next day. And if you really want to make my day, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon. Support the show any way you can so that I can continue to do what I do to the best of my ability, which in this case is show off really bloody, obscure N64 platformers that deserve to be better known, because goddammit, Rocket is amazing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, Internet.